2018. Welcome back to Regarding 365's Office 365 Message Center, the week that was. And we've got Daniel, Glenn, and Daryl as a service tuning in for a brief episode.
Hello, everyone.
Hey. So we had a reasonable holiday break. I know you and I were connected during the break.
Several?
And
Yep.
Yeah, a couple of times, having a chat about things and some ideas.
Yes.
It looks like we're joined by Sandy over in Southern California at the moment, and a couple of others in the chat room. So salute to you. We'll check on the chat a bit later on. Dan.
Yes. Sorry, I was tweeting us the link.
No, that's okay.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Yes. Welcome to the new studio, for the US-based studio for the Office 365 Message Center, the week that was. It's not done yet. For those that are long time.
What's that in the background?
What is this? What part?
Oh, well, you've got your TV screen that we've seen in the past, but is that,
Yep.
What's that?
This?
Yes.
This monitor? This monitor is actually, I just published a blog post. That's my website. And this actually is highlighting what I was going to say is I'm coming to you live from the home of Nashville's SQL Saturday. We will be having a free day of training this Saturday, all about SQL Server, AS, IS, RS, Power BI. I'm giving a talk on using your on-prem data. So yes, so that's my website. I know it doesn't come across very great on this video, but anyway. So
what I was leading at was, is that the new rig that you'll be eventually using to do some of the live streaming, recording for the show?
Absolutely not. So I'm actually on the rig that I'll be using. I've got a new camera, so you get to see me in HD,
Yeah, that's right. I'm seeing some of those like dimples and
freckles.
Tons.
Maybe I need to go back to my.
There's a few extra grey hairs in the chin there. Must have been.
All right, moving right along. Thank you very much. So I've got my new camera. I've got a new mic. Hopefully I sound okay. I'm using a nice fancy microphone, but I'm on a rig that I've built, powered by Windows. It is got some beefed up memory. It's got a nice processor in it. So hopefully we're going to be doing a lot more video this coming year, not only for this show. I think hopefully it'll be a better experience, but then follow-up shows for content that we discuss. So yes, that monitor will not be one. There's a monitor here that you can't actually see that is a wider screen, higher definition. That'll be part of my rig, as well as the one I'm actually looking at right now.
Right. Well, I'm hoping to see a post that has the reverse. You know those WOSGIDG puzzles where you're trying to solve a puzzle, but it's actually what the people on the box see, and that's what we're seeing here. We want to see the reverse of what you're looking at.
Oh, so the studio is great, but that side of the studio is not. So we'll see. We'll figure it out, because I'm getting a new desk.
Yeah.
I just ordered a desk last week or this past weekend. So I'm getting a fancy desk, and I'll be anyway. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, just to say too, like, we are going to be making an effort to add a few more professional tweaks to the show, because in our never-ending quest to try and make this something better and a bit more quality, we are going to be introducing a bit of background music. We've got some ideas around bringing people in briefly for interviews and doing some commentary and just really mixing it up. Always the focus being on the Office 365 Message Center. So with that, let's take a quick look at some of the messages before we talk a little bit more about the rest of the year. And I jokingly said to, I think it was Phil Worrell, really it was quite a quiet message center over the Christmas break. And as you can see, I have about 6 messages, but there's something that's not too quiet in that message center, something that sort of screams out that we don't see a lot. we might see one or two occasionally through the months. What are those orange exclamation marks for?
Those are, hey, pay attention to this. You're going to need to possibly take some action here. So
that's it.
Yep, that is a major. Make sure you are paying attention. So, which is interesting, I think, for these. We've talked about this before. Longtime viewers will remember. We talk about this. Who decides what's major and what's not? But that's what that means. Is hey, pay attention to this. Although, are you not supposed to pay attention to the other things? I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, as actually one thing that we want to do with the show is keep the talk around each of these messages brief too, and so we're not going to work our way through as we have in the past. We just want to focus on one or two and give you quality, and not really sort of spend much time talking about the blips or there has been a change in the contractors that have access to the service centers now.
Yep.
But there's a couple here that would be good to mention. Let's have a look at the Yammer web part one. So this is something that those organizations that have been using Yammer and are using the SharePoint Modern Pages have been really looking forward to. And I'm still looking forward to it. So I've got this message in my message center. It is the new web part that allows you to create cards for the current posts and focus on things, and it just makes it a lot more visually appealing. But
right.
I don't have it yet. I am on targeted release. It has been pushed out to targeted release, and it isn't here yet. So what I want to call out here is this is where, how sometimes we have those repetitive messages that say the same message, but now it's completed rollout. And then the next one that says now it's going out to the general audience. Then that's what I find useful in this stage is, hey, I'm supposed to have it. If I see a message that says, yes, we've completed this rollout, and I don't have it yet, then maybe I need to log a ticket.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, on that topic of Yammer, you noticed something during the break, didn't you? And I think the rest of the world that did use Yammer, I was actually surprised that you, of all people, did notice it.
Oh, come on. Now, Daryl.
Yes.
I don't, that's unfair, I think. So I was on, I got an invite, from our friend Lauren, actually. I think that's when I noticed it. Anyway, and I clicked a link in an email, from Yammer, and I remember what it was, but it was a link and I clicked on it and I got this wonderful, message saying, oh no, Yammer's unplugged, basically. It was offline, and I tweeted about it.
Not unplugged in the Nashville sense, right?
No, not in the musical sense. They weren't going a cappella. It was that someone, unplugged the server,
right.
And so it was offline for a good while. And what they found initially, the analysis was that that you couldn't just log in. That as long as you were in, you were fine. That was the initial analysis, which is fine, but you can't stay logged in to Yammer forever, right? Eventually you have to log in. But then they found out so they blamed it on a patch, and then they found out actually there was a database problem. So they had to fix that as well. So it was good. It was down for a good while. And I think, when things like this happen, yes, it's bad, but, also remember to put in a ticket if you were affected, because all of the services in Office 365 are financially backed. Well, not all, but most of them are. And so check that, and you can open up a ticket to say, hey, I was without my Yammer, because that's very important.
One thing that I did notice, it didn't take long for a message to appear. Also in the alerts to say it is down. We're working on it. So
and you'll be proud of me, Daryl. That's where I went looking for the alert. Was on my phone in the mobile app, and I did find it, and I kept up with the updates. And so that's great. They helped. They got it done. eventually, and it's up and running. But it was good to keep up to date, on the mobile app.
All right. Well, we won't go through each one of them. There's I guess we should just quickly go through the ones that at least have exclamation marks, because that says we do have to do something about it, and potentially, hopefully,
right.
None that actually you should have had something done before Christmas, or Okay. So this one here, TLS change, encryption. So that's need to have that action by the 1st of March.
Yep.
Some of these things are called out. Because you may be using applications that are using an older version of TLS or a different service that needs to talk to these services that have been changed in Office 365. So this one isn't as specific. It's not in the sense that we have seen in our records that you are accessing this using TLS version 1.0, but it's just really calling that out. And we've got another one on Yammer user profiles, and I find this one quite interesting. I had a chat with Paul Woods at Adopt and Embrace, and we're using it here a bit on and off. And one trick that Yammer people use for their out of office, and you've probably seen this before in the community, is that they use their surname and add I'm away till, or I'm at this conference, or whatever. Well, this change actually makes that difficult to occur now, because the first name and last name attributes in the Yammer database are now no longer going to be used to be able to be updated or displayed. It will be linked to the full name, display name in the Azure Active Directory. So there's more of that alignment going on. Right,
and you just need to, and this is good to, especially for me, it really does highlight those people that do put those, they'll put a little airplane and say, I'm flying to wherever, and they're, so where they are. It does apply to them a lot, but it also, it's just a different place to look and have to update. So it is good to keep track of this, but
does it warrant? It's probably more important for organisations that are using Yammer predominantly for their communication in the community. So that's not the only thing it affects, of course, but it's one of the things that it does is that synchronization for the attributes. Now, SharePoint.com DNS service addresses. Did you see this one in your center, Dan?
No.
Okay.
I did not.
It's something that only relates to the data center that I'm hanging out in, which is the Australian data centers. And I think it was early last year, my tenant was moved over from the Singapore data centers. That's nice. I've got a couple of subscribers appeared on screen over your face.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, this is I guess one of those ones where it claims that we have detected that in our records that you are accessing the DNS services using the old way, and we are changing things. Or we have changed things on the 15th of October. So please update your records.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. I don't do anything tricky at all with my tenant, and I don't have any fancy DNS records that say if you're accessing SharePoint.com, then go to this old way of doing things. So, yeah. But for those who are, and it really does affect more those who had a legacy BPOS connection, you might see the old DNS server records are the MicrosoftOnline.com addresses. Then make sure that you are using the new Azure ones to get to the SharePoint DNS zones.
Yep.
Just a nice little explanation about the hardware vulnerability. So good to see.
And I think Microsoft did a great job in Azure. They did a great job explaining what was going on, and I called that out during that. I think they did a good job, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was a significant, and there's still some updates going on, and organisations still finding maintenance windows or making maintenance windows to update and get secure after that vulnerability was discovered. But how much of the Azure data center was affected, and did that play any role in maybe a Yammer outage or any kind of micro outage? So for the most part, I mean, observations of mine were that there wasn't a whole lot of people screaming out that there were lots of services that were down. So Azure works, Office 365 works, redundancy works.
Yeah, they made a point of saying, we're patching these things, and if you've set it up right, well, there's a key, but if you've set up your Azure environment correctly, then you won't see downtime. So, yeah.
And lastly, general availability for the graph reporting APIs. If you are using the Microsoft Graph, then they are updating or changing some of the commands that have been used to draw the information out of the graph. So this is really where whether you've customized a whole lot of things and you need to program up some changes or use new commands. My take on this, though, is did they really need to list the whole table in the announcement? Because it looked kind of funny on the mobile.
I think sometimes you get some information overload, especially on mobile, like you said. How that displayed is important if I'm going to pay attention to it. But yeah, I mean, more information is better than not enough information. But yeah, maybe a little bit of overload.
I think it's enough to say we are changing some APIs and these commands. Bold. Do have a look at these commands. Link to article on docs.microsoft.com, and away you go. We don't need to sort of be scrolling with our thumb, and I'm just so pedantic about my thumb and how much scrolling I do. I mean, I don't even have a
protect your thumbs,
anymore.
Daryl.
Yeah, well, I try and use it on my iPhone now, and it just doesn't recognize my thumbprint because I've used it so much from scrolling for this message. So, yeah, okay. Enough of that. But there we see that I would say is enough to take a mention of the messages in the Message Center. Let's talk a little more about this year and what we're doing.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, we're trying to add a bit more professionalism, so we're choosing some music. So
we're resigning and getting two new show hosts.
Yeah, that's right. We're looking for sponsorship, and we're paying a couple of just for fun. We're going to get someone from CNN, someone from Fox, and someone from NBC, and we'll just watch them duke it out. Yeah, that'll go down well. There's working on some graphics. We've got some additional shows coming live this year, which we've mentioned a few on and off. We've got Talking Teams with Lorian and Damien. There's 365 Insights. And we recently had Jethro Seegers join us too. And you might know that Jethro had a change in vocation just before Christmas and has managed to land something. So, check in with him on LinkedIn and Twitter and all that and see what he's up to. But he and Lauren are going to put something together around 365 partners and what it's like as a partner working as a managed service provider in the 365 space. There was some crazy stuff that Alistair put out about, hey, look at this island in New Zealand. Why don't we have a SharePoint Saturday or Microsoft Saturday there?
Are we going to talk about this? All right.
Maybe not. Let's just say as a hint, watch this space. We might do something down in the Southern Hemisphere around getting together. And
I have not been silent on the fact that I want to. I want us to get together. I think at Ignite, when we're able to get together in the podcast center and just all of us standing there, having a good time talking. I think it brought value because we had a lot of different voices standing up there talking, but we also, I think it was a good group to have because even though with those other, I'm going to be careful what words I call them because we're in public. I love them, Lauren and Al. So I think it would be great. So watch this space. we're going to be some creative, and there's some other things that we're trying to put together to be a little more creative, and not just in the southern hemisphere, but also in the northern hemisphere. So be watching this space. We'll be making. I think it'll be great to make some announcements on the show. So definitely subscribe, so you're the first to know and know what's going on, so you can jump in and be first. It's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to this year. And what's in store. But one thing we've already done, and you've talked about graphics and audio and stuff, and it's going to be fantastic. But one thing we've already done is you put something in front of the name of this episode. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, no, that's important. So we were counting back and thinking, how busy have we been over the year doing these episodes? You and I found a common time where we could connect and run them, and sometimes, yes, we have cheated a little and pre-recorded, but we've managed to find a way to push it out there and still engage with people in the chat. And just by the way, I've also found a nice way to present the chat on screen now, so we can talk about various things on screen and respond to you. We've got We've got Drew, Paul, we've got Liz, Sandy. And Phil as well. Yeah, so that's awesome. Yep. Some of our regulars that like to join in. So we have found a way to bring your interactions into our show. So here's just a hint of what we're experiencing and working on. What the heck was we asking about again?
What's the name of the show? What is the
Why have we changed? What have we changed about it? Well,
yes.
The title.
Bring it back. Get out of that rabbit hole.
The title was big, and we're counting back on. Look, how busy have we been over the year? We, I started things out as almost like a Daryl talking about the Message Center, and just doing this on my own. Then Dan joined me like after a few episodes. I think it was after about 6 or 7 of them, and so we actually ended up doing 28 episodes last year.
Right. Yep.
Quite an effort, eh? Like, I know there were some weeks that we missed, but I mean, I think that's pretty good. So rather than dating them now, we're going to drop an episode number at the beginning of the title, because we know that the date or the information dates quite quickly, but it's good to be able to go back and say, what did we refer to in that episode?
Yeah, and it's also before it was right to say the week that was January 1st, to say that week, so the 7 days including that day moving forward, this is what happened, and that's how this all started. But moving forward, we're talking about it's more than just what's happening last week. It's also about what's going to happen based upon what we've seen in the Message Center, and where is the Message Center going, and where is Office 365 going? What have we heard? And so it's even more than what's happened in the last 7 days. So that kind of led to this, this conversation, as well as, when we went live and we said, like, today would have been, the week that was January 1st. Well, it's already January 8th now, and January 9th for you.
Yeah.
So it dated a little bit, but I think those two drivers, and hopefully people will see that it brings a little more. It makes it a little easier to figure out what's going on.
Can I suggest too, Dan? Where we tried to obey some rules, because we're both fussy people, kind of.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, okay, speak for yourself. We would say the week that was, and then we'd just try so desperately to talk about just those messages, but not mention any of the other ones that might have crept in over the weekend. Does this allow us, now that we've just dropped in an episode number, to talk about whatever's on the screen?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, and again, we're not going to dive into every single one every week. Sometimes it's just some of these stay informed things are not really that important, and that's our opinion. And well, it's our show. Well, it's your show. I'm just the co-host. Al will appreciate me saying that. That's what he says about his show. But so I think it'll help us be able to cover what's going on now, rather than keeping it within that framework of, okay, we can't talk about things that have crept up.
So yeah, those in the chat room, I know you're probably about 20 or 30 seconds behind, but just drop in a couple of, that sounds good, I support that, that's a great idea. So we'll just leave that on the screen and see if there's any reactions.
I got a reaction.
Yeah, speaking of reaction, yeah, that's right. So yeah, I mean that's something that we're working on. Yeah, episode numbers. I've just gone blank.
No, so episode, I think we're going to do. We talked about maybe doing some follow-up information based upon show content.
That's what it was.
Yeah, so thinking about, we can't dive into some of these items that pop up on the show. But it would be nice to kind of dive into some of these things and say, for 5 minutes, let's actually look at this and see it in action. And that's not what this show is specifically about right now, but maybe we can do a 5-minute video later through the week and kind of tack it on. So that's another thing we're thinking about, and I hope people will support that. We want to bring value, and that's what that's all this is. We want to bring value to you, and we want you to come away from this saying, you know what, that was awesome. I enjoyed listening to that 30-minute, 20-minute, whatever show, and but then maybe there is some value in seeing something, diving into it, and you can watch that later on.
Well, this was my thought about Ignite and going along before it blew up and became something bigger. I wanted to be able to talk to real people and real IT pros and get their opinions and thoughts around stuff that was announced at Ignite. And it's still my vision for the show to talk to real people. So I've seen there's a bunch of people there that have said, yeah, it's great ideas around the change of episode name and the like. Be able to sort of talk to an IT pro that in the tech community who said, hey, I've just seen this and these are my thoughts. We jump on, we have a quick Skype call, we record it for 5 minutes, and then we chat about that particular mini interview. Then you and I have also got some contacts at Microsoft that are happy to connect with us regularly to talk about some of the things that they've announced, and just keeping it brief, but giving value and a bit more dimension than just, well, here's the next announcement in the Message Center, and we'll move on up. Hey, CC, good to see you there. I met CC a couple of Ignites ago. She's an awesome chick. You got some good ideas.
Chicky.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm not very politically correct or whatever. I just.
I think it's lost in translation. What you meant to say was lovely woman and very smart and intelligent and just being engaging to be around. I think that's what you.
Thank you for the translation. Yes.
Okay.
Daniel translate. Yep, no, it's good. It's good to see people back and joining us live. So, yep, if you like what we're coming up with and you actually want to get involved too, and jump in on the chats and be part of what's going on and talk to us for 5 minutes or so, we'd love to connect with you, record it, and then just jump on the show and talk a bit more about what you've been experiencing in your tenants. What your thoughts are on the Message Center, and how you are dealing with these announcements as IT pros. And of course, let's talk. We will continue to talk about the discussions and the observations from the Microsoft tech community. Well, so much for that 10-minute, 15-minute episode.
I know.
It's 7:30, but I think we've had some good things to talk about. You're busy texting, aren't you?
No, I'm not. I'm trying to keep up with the chat. So sorry.
No, that's good. That's good. You've done quite well. Somehow you managed to add in some comments while you're still engaging me on the screen. You're actually up showing me in terms of multitasking.
Yeah. No, I think while we wanted this show to be a little less in time, I think we will do that moving forward.
Yeah.
It won't be 15 minutes, I don't think, every episode, but it'll be shorter. But it was good to, I think, regroup and say, hey, here we are, and this is what we're going to do for this coming year. So
cool. All right. Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks for jumping in the chat there and engaging us. Thanks again, Daniel Glenn. We're rocking. We're doing 2018 and looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So see you again next week, and the same time, same channel, of course. And keep a look out for these new shows that are coming up.
Make sure you subscribe.
Yeah, we are subscribed. Yeah, subscribe.
Yep,
so there's a couple of ways. I've experimented a bit this week using Facebook events. So there's two ways that you could keep up to date with us, you could subscribe using the YouTube app, and then you will get a ping saying, hey, there's a new episode that's been scheduled. And I'm also going to try and use the Facebook page as well to create a live event. You can subscribe and say, yeah, I plan to go. Still thinking about how we do this on an email sense. I want to be able to get something into people's calendars so they can plan around it and plan to tune in and watch. But that's us, the Office 365 Message Center, the week that was, and it was episode 29. So see us for episode 30 next week. Bye for now.
See you guys.